Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. I am having a phenomenal time with this update. I think it's absolutely brilliant so far. I've been doing a bunch more work off camera, just grabbing some resources, farming up some of the stuff we picked up in the last episode. But I have tried my best not to do anything more than that, because today we're going to embark on a very special quest in the Nether. There are new materials to gather that will upgrade our tools, our weapons, our armor. Yes, my friends, today we are going to find Netherite. But before we find Netherite, we have to find some ancient debris. And before we find some ancient debris, we're going to have to make sure that we have the right sort of equipment on us. Now, I think I'm doing all right so far. I always have a couple of highly efficient pickaxes on me, and those are going to be perfect because I think the best long-term way of digging out ancient debris, aside from making a TNT duplicator and blasting out all of the netherrack, is probably going to be just straight up mining for it. And there are a limited amount of ways in which mining can be helpful because of the way ancient debris spawns. If we consider the ore generation in the overworld, you have chances of ores like diamond spawning in clusters of up to 8. You have chances of redstone and coal and occasionally iron and gold spawning in larger and more winding veins. I think the closest thing we can compare netherite to, really, is emerald ore, all of which is hidden in an undisclosed location in the world download, which came out yesterday. I hope you guys are enjoying that. I will link to the video if you guys have not seen that already. But it's basically like emerald ore in that you only find maybe 1 or 2 of it at a time, which means if you want to find it, which is guaranteed in the Nether if you dig out a certain amount of area, we are going to have to do a lot of digging because it's going to be hidden somewhere inside that chunk. Now, I'm going to grab myself a couple of fire resistance potions as well, because the best way to find netherite that I'm aware of is to dig down below lava lakes, and that's going to be a bit of a challenge for us. I'm also going to bring some rockets just in case we need a quick getaway, and I think that's probably going to be it for now, although we may end up coming back for our most blast protective armor and maybe some beds. But for now, our first step is going to be to step through to the Nether and get started looking for an ideal location to mine ancient debris. And unfortunately for me, it's not going to be here. We cannot mine for ancient debris right by the Nether hub because the way Minecraft generates terrain, of course, we have a bunch of pre-generated chunks here already. Every block in these areas has been decided before the Nether update, and as you can see, I've been doing a couple of tests to see how easy it's going to be to spread all of this stuff, and believe me, it's not going to be all that hard as long as we have a whole lot of bone meal. We can make one of these biomes basically anywhere we want. The only thing we end up foregoing is the lovely purple fog color that you get in places like these, and the white fog color that you get in basalt deltas if you wanted to rebuild one of those. But we are not going to be able to mine for netherite here because the chunks are already generated, and the game will not have generated random pockets of ancient debris in areas like this. So we're going to have to go to some new areas. Some new terrain is going to be the place where we will look for some ancient debris, and from there we will see how much we get. So ancient debris can be found under the surface in any of the new biomes of the Nether, but it is probably going to be best if we end up looking in nether wastes, in warped forests, or in basalt deltas, because if you end up mining out a large area underneath a crimson forest, there is every likelihood that you're going to get hoglins spawning once you clear out a large area, and we don't want a herd of hoglins on our tail digging a bunch of stuff out behind us and causing them to spawn and attack. So I think instead what we're going to do is find a place like this. I think this nether wastes biome is far enough out that I will not have had to worry about this being old terrain. I'm pretty sure I have deleted chunks outside of this before, and we are going to dig down to a level that is below the lava lake over here. Let's quickly take the coordinates just to make sure we are getting this right. Let's see, we're at Y33, so the lava lake level in the Nether is Y32. Anywhere below that seems to be the place to find ancient debris. And to clarify, ancient debris can actually be found basically anywhere in the Nether. It's not just going to be up that high. And, oh, is there some black stone underneath the surface here? Hello. Don't mind if I do. I will grab some of that. Was not expecting that to be underneath here, but apparently we get ourselves some of that, and that is a very good sign that we are in brand new chunks here. So anyway, as I was saying, you can get ancient debris from basically any biome, and really, technically speaking, at basically any height. The thing you need to keep in mind is that the most terrain, the most solid area of terrain is going to be below some of the lava lakes, is going to be underneath the world, because that is where the nether floor starts to generate, and that is the area we really want to be digging down to right now in order to find a large area that we can mine out uninterrupted. But to my understanding, it is supposed to be the case that ancient debris can technically spawn anywhere as long as it can generate completely enclosed by netherrack. It does not end up exposed in the walls of caves the way something like quartz would. Instead, you will find it mostly generating in areas that are completely surrounded by netherrack, and also potentially pockets of lava. Ancient debris and lava get on quite well, it turns out. The block is completely fireproof and will not burn in lava, which is kind of the key to ancient debris in general, because once you convert it into netherite and apply it to your tools and armor, you end up with tools and armor that do not burn in lava as well. So right now, where we stand here, we are at Y22, and I think what we're going to do is create a bit of a staircase down to possibly the lowest point in the chunk we can, and then we are going to attempt to mine out the entire chunk of netherrack until we find what we want. And this is why you need a lot of durability on a pickaxe, and you need a couple of pickaxes or some other equipment like TNT or beds that you can use to explode large areas of the terrain under here. I'm not starting with TNT and beds, but believe me, we are going to give that a solid try later on, because yep, we are going to encounter a fair amount of lava pockets here and there, and we need to make sure we can bridge safely over here to take that one out. Obviously, the lava lakes at surface level in the nether are not going to just be one block deep. They are several blocks deep, and you'll probably need to dig around 10 blocks underneath them to start mining out for netherite, is the height I would suggest, because typically they will generate pretty deep. They will have a fairly sizable chunk above there that is completely filled with lava, and so you don't want all of that stuff falling in on your head. And I think we could also potentially do this systematically by pressing F3 and G. This is going to be a Java edition thing primarily, but finding the boundaries where the chunks begin and end and digging out that entire area to be guaranteed that we are going to find at least one vein of ancient debris. Let's give that a go, because I don't see any other way of doing this systematically in a way that we will be able to find the right amount of ancient debris. We are also potentially going to uncover pockets of gold ore, of nether gold ore and nether quartz ore, which are going to be incredibly helpful to me, and I think it's going to be nice to collect a bunch of that stuff, especially if we end up encountering piglins. But having established this little mining outpost and making sure I am digging away from the center of the world, so I'm digging towards new generated chunks at all times, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to mine out a large area of the netherrack here and see when we end up encountering ancient debris, and I will bring you guys back in when we're ready to talk about that a little bit more. Hey folks, welcome back. So the work here is done, and I've done a little bit more work than is strictly necessary just to show you guys the facts about ancient debris and how it generates. So there is a little bit of information about this already on the Minecraft wiki thanks to the diligent work of the community, and we are able to see how that information is brought to bear right here in our episode. So we have 3 exposed pieces of ancient debris, and we are seeing it for the first time in this series, so I'm going to use some scaffolding to pillar up here and get a closer look at it before we end up mining this stuff out. Ancient debris is actually a really nice texture. I kind of like the sort of plate metal, almost scrappy feel that it has, and we're going to whip out the diamond pickaxe and mine this. Now, as you can see, there is only one piece of ancient debris right there and right there per vein, and you will get them occasionally spawning in veins of up to 3. There we go, hidden in the depths. That is the first ancient debris I've managed to acquire in this world, and you will find it spawning maybe 1 or 2 veins per chunk maximum, and if there are more than that, then it's a chance that it has overlapped from one chunk to another. So once you have found 1 or 2 pieces of ancient debris within a single chunk, that is basically all you need to mine out, because that is more or less all you are guaranteed to find. It tends to generate between Y22 and Y8, so you don't need to worry too much about digging down all the way to bedrock. You can effectively ignore that. I've just done that to prove the example here that we are all the way down to bedrock underneath this lava lake. You will also find a single vein of ancient debris somewhere between level 8 and level 119, so basically between very floor level of the nether and as close as you feel like getting to the nether roof. There is a chance of an ancient debris vein spawning somewhere out there as well. That may yet be underground, because the lower level of that is of course still below the lava lake. So maybe if you are super lucky, you will end up finding 3 veins of ancient debris. But once again, a vein is anything between 1 and 3 blocks. So this is not really something that you're going to easily be able to find by branch mining, because branch mining methods basically just involve you digging a straight line and branching off in occasional pathways and hoping to get lucky by striking one part of a vein that is exposed and might uncover a larger vein underneath. But you are going to have to dig out basically every block in a chunk to guarantee that you are going to find yourself some ancient debris. And that has taken me about 1,000 durability on an Unbreaking 3 diamond pickaxe. So that is going to be a lot of work. Now, of course, there are other ways in which we can dig out these chunks. So it might be worth heading back to the overworld now and getting something a little bit more explosive to help us out. But in the meantime, I thought I would take you guys through a little bit of the stuff I have now acquired, because Netherrack is not the only spoils of digging out this chunk. Aside from the ancient debris itself, and I will go and claim that one up there in the wall in a second, we also have a bunch of quartz ore, a bunch of blackstone, which has started to generate in pockets underground, which I'm very happy about, because it's quite difficult getting this stuff from basalt deltas with all that lava around. We have a decent amount of nether gold ore, a few magma blocks here and there where it gets a little closer to the lava, and a decent amount of gravel, which once again, I'm also quite happy about, because gravel can be turned into concrete powder, and gravel can be quite hard to come by, especially on multiplayer servers when a lot of players are building with concrete. So the encouragement to go under the surface of the nether and grind for resources like ancient debris will also net you unforeseen benefits like a larger amount of gravel. And even the netherrack that we've had to pull out of this chunk in order to find the ancient debris is potentially going to be worth having, because we can convert it into nylium and use that for our terraforming efforts elsewhere here in the nether. So I'm going to hop down here, grab that last vein of ancient debris out of the wall, and hopefully I will not get any lava surprises behind this one. But as I've gone, I've developed a system where I just mark the ancient debris off with a torch, especially if it's going to be floating in the chunk above me, and then I come back at the end when I've uncovered absolutely everything, and I mine out all the pieces of ancient debris I can see. So let's see if we end up getting more than one here. Nope, looks like that is... Oh, no, it's 2. Okay, great. So while we go back to the overworld to gather some more explosive supplies, we may also be able to smelt some of this ancient debris down and make our first ingot of netherite. That's right, you will need 4 pieces of ancient debris to convert it into netherite scraps to make 1 ingot of netherite. And now you will see why this material is going to be some of the rarest stuff in Minecraft. Let's head home and let's see what we can do about this. Okay, ladies and gents, let's grab ourselves a blast furnace. And a blast furnace is not strictly necessary for smelting down netherite scraps from ancient debris. We will be able to do that in a regular furnace also, but I feel the blast furnace is sorely neglected. And I've had my fair share of things to say about the blast furnace over the years, but I think it's going to be time to implement this into a little bit faster smelting of netherite. So let me grab, I know it's not efficient, let me grab 1 piece of coal anyway, and let me throw that in there, because we can smelt this stuff up nice and quick and get ourselves our first netherite scraps. Yeah, there we go. All right, and as you'll see, a new recipe unlocks in the recipe book. We'll be able to check out the crafting recipe for netherite ingots in just a moment. The good news is, if you have 1 netherite ingot, that is enough to upgrade a piece of your diamond equipment, and we're going to be using another crafting station from our village box, if you can guess which one it is, in order to upgrade one of our pieces of equipment. And let's see if we can make some of this. There you go, because you need 4 netherite scraps and 4 gold ingots to make a single ingot of netherite. It's an alloy, which is really quite exciting, although putting it in a crafting table to make this stuff, I don't know, dubious to me. It kind of feels like you are plating a bunch of gold ingots with the netherite scraps. But here we go, our first netherite ingot, and as you will see, that has unlocked a bunch of recipes. Now, a block of netherite is obviously still possible, although very, very difficult to obtain because that's 9 netherite ingots. But in the meantime, I think what we should do is get a smithing table. There we go, a smithing table, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time, this thing actually has a GUI and it allows you to upgrade your gear. So let me throw in Smooth Operator. Let me put a netherite ingot down, and as you will see, Smooth Operator is getting an upgrade. My Silk Touch pickaxe with a netherite ingot in here can get upgraded with all of its enchantments intact to a netherite pickaxe. Now, you will see a few things that are going to be different about this already, and I'll keep it in the GUI for the moment, even though I want to pull this thing out and get it to work. We have, for a start, slightly more attack damage. We have 1 more point of attack damage with netherite. Netherite basically upgrades the attack of any tool that you add it to by 1. So swords are going to be 1 point more damaging, so axes are going to be 1 point more damaging, even pickaxes, hoes, and yes indeed shovels are going to be slightly more damaging as well. Not only that, but we have an increase in durability, and that is really what I'm after with netherite, because it gives you about 500 more durability, roughly speaking. I think it's like 470 more durability than the diamond pickaxe has, meaning netherite is going to last for a little bit longer, especially with Unbreaking 3. So, at long last, it is time to claim our first netherite tool, and look at that. It is a dull grey kind of colour, much like the top of the smithing table, but it is quite a deep grey, and it really does show up very, very purple with the enchantment glimmer on it. One of the things I've been considering doing is maybe toning down the enchantment glimmer a little bit using a resource pack. Nothing that's going to be too, like, you know, too much of a change from vanilla, but I kind of feel like maybe I should get that gone at some point. Anyway, that has actually increased the available durability, like the durability that was left on that pickaxe by a little bit anyway. So even if your tool is on its last legs, you will get a little bit of extra durability back from adding a netherite ingot to it in the smithing table. But I think we are probably going to have to go and repair it anyway. The good news is, with that all done, we can take our blast furnace and the smithing table back down to the netherite mine, and we should be able to assemble a fair amount of gold ingots just by mining out that nether gold ore that we're finding in the chunk. In fact, I would wager that we're going to find way more nether gold ore than we will actually need to craft into ingots to combine with the netherite. But it seems like you're going to be able to find a decent amount of that basically anywhere you go, anywhere you dig, and hopefully we'll be able to get ourselves a few more netherite ingots. My goal by the end of this episode is to have put all of my tools and armor, including my new favorite thing, the hoe. Yes, I have an efficiency 5, fortune 3 hoe now, and we will be doing something with that probably in a future episode this week. But yeah, we're going to try and upgrade all of my tools and armor to netherite today. We're not going to get started crafting blocks of netherite or anything, but I would like to get a full upgrade on my tools and armor today. It's the only way to really put netherite through its paces and give it the test it deserves. So we're going to head up here to the Zombie Pigman gold farm, where things are actually a little bit different. A little bit different, but still viable as a farm. You'll see around you that the zombie pigmen are still spawning on these platforms. However, there are also piglins running around here as well, and the piglins are the problem with this farm now, because over time they will start to spawn and take up the mob cap that was already taken up by the zombie piglins, and they will no longer end up spawning zombie piglins after a little while. Or maybe the zombie piglins will still spawn occasionally, but the piglins will really take over. So we're going to be taking steps in the near future to basically piglin-proof this entire thing. And don't worry, that's going to be a lot easier than it at first appears. Not only that, but Mojang has finally fixed a bug which was preventing newly spawned zombie pigmen from picking up the aggro that the old zombie pigmen had. So this farm, instead of not being as efficient, is actually more efficient than it ever was, because anytime new mobs spawn in this farm, they are immediately going to start tracking towards me in the center of the farm here. And also, one final excellent quality of life feature that's been added in this update: even if you're currently wearing all of your mending gear, a mending tool that you are holding will end up getting all of the XP before it starts to transfer that to your levels bar, meaning I can stay fully equipped up here on my zombie pigman farm, gather all of the experience I need to, and head back to work without having to change my gear around, take off my armor, or any of the juggling I was having to do before. And look at this, the XP is still rolling in, perhaps not as fast as it once did because we need to get rid of those piglins here and there, but the zombie pigmen keep coming, and anytime a fresh wave spawns, they're immediately heading over here to find me, which is absolutely brilliant. This farm actually works more efficiently than it did before in that respect, and that makes me very, very happy. Unfortunately, as you may have heard, it is a bit of a bittersweet victory because the writing is on the wall for these zombie pigman farms, and Mojang has confirmed that the aggro bug that is basically causing zombie pigmen to drop XP if they are killed by something other than a player, as that's how that works right now with entity cramming aggroed pigmen, is going to get fixed at some point in the future. But realistically, all that means is that you have to change that farm from an automatic killing mechanism to a manual one, where the player simply stands there, swipes with a sword occasionally, and collects all of the XP and the drops. Basically the same as an Enderman farm is set up in the end. And so that's not really going to be a huge setback. It's going to be a bit of an inconvenience, but we just need to redesign the farm a little bit and it'll be fine. So hopefully that's not going to be a huge problem for the future, and zombie pigmen will still be a great source of gold and gold nuggets and gold ingots in the meantime. So I'm going to head back out here to the location of my new netherite mine. We're going to continue mining out underneath that lava lake, and yes, in a future episode, we will also be checking out this. I've located a couple of bastions already. I've not been setting foot in any of them. I don't want to get the advancements for it until we can do that on camera. But I'm excited to take on that particular new challenge, and hopefully we will have a great time of that in an episode later this week. And I've just realized that I meant to go and get something explosive to mine out this next chunk. But you know what? I feel like putting my new netherite pickaxe through its paces. So I'm going to mine out this entire next chunk. There is no time like the present. Let's get this done. I'll throw some music on in the background, and we'll see how much ancient debris we find in the next chunk over. Okay, so this new netherite pickaxe is pretty well broken in at this point, and I have dug out basically this entire area. This side over here on the right is actually all a crimson forest, so I've started slabbing it over with blackstone slabs. Been getting plenty of blackstone from this, and it's really useful just to slab that area off to prevent hoglins and piglins from spawning in too great numbers. And earlier on, I said something along the lines of, well, I bet we're gonna get enough gold so that we can combine that with the netherite scraps. And let me tell you, I have over a stack and change of gold ingots and 9 ancient debris. So yeah, maybe just a little bit of gold in here. I have been mining all of that with Fortune 3, but really didn't make a huge, like, change in the amount of gold I expected to get. Anyway, we now have enough ancient debris that we can smelt up a full coal worth of that and get ourselves 8 netherite scraps, which means 2 more ingots, which means 2 more additional items we can convert to netherite. And I don't know what to go with yet. I have a feeling we are probably going to be adapting some gold armor into our setup fairly soon, simply to avoid getting attacked by piglins and open up the opportunity of bartering with them. So I don't know if I'm going to go for the armor right away. The boots I'm kind of tempted by, and I think what we might do is add netherite to this fortune pickaxe so that I can continue to mine stuff out with a little bit more durability on my tools. But basically everything is going to be fair game at this point. I feel like the sword is going to need a little bit of extra attack. The axe, having some more durability would be super nice. The shovel, especially when you're out mining for sand or something like that, going to be super useful as well. But I think for now, the pickaxes are definitely going to win the day. So let me get 8 gold ingots, combine those for 2 more netherite, and let's charge this thing up. Let's add a bit of netherite to this. There we go. Miss Fortune gets an upgrade as well. My fortune pickaxe, very, very nice. Obviously, we can't do anything like a shield. There are no netherite shields in the game. It's just the stuff that you use diamond for. So I'm thinking boots. You know, I'm thinking my netherite boots, because having a bit of depth strider and all of that stuff on it as well, plus a little bit of extra armor and armor toughness now. You see, diamond has 3 armor and 2 armor toughness. Netherite has 3 armor toughness instead of 2, and an additional knockback resistance. What that ultimately means is that if you're taking heavier attacks from something, melee attacks and ranged attacks, I believe, are the ones that are affected by armor toughness, it is going to mitigate some of the damage a little bit. It is going to absorb some of that damage so the player takes less of it. I don't believe explosion damage is affected by this, though. Even if you have blast protection on something, I don't think armor toughness really helps. Some people sent me tweets a little while ago about how if you stand next to an exploding end crystal with full blast protection, netherite armor doesn't make all that much difference. So it's not going to protect you from everything, but a little bit of extra armor toughness never hurt anybody. And I think having some netherite boots is pretty good. So now I think I'm on my way towards getting enough netherite for all of my equipment that I currently wear, and I've got my new boots on that. It's kind of a color contrast right now, but we'll see how we get on with that. I think what I'm going to do now is head back to the overworld and make good on my promise of bringing in some beds, because I think the next step is really to speed up the process of mining out all of these chunks. I'm not concerned at this point about preserving the gold, the quartz, the blackstone, and the netherrack. What we really want is that blast-proof ancient debris, and if we want to get a little bit more of that, we are going to need to speed up this operation today, because otherwise this is going to take far too long. So let me head back to the overworld, grab some beds or some TNT, but I think beds are probably going to be the best way to do it, the cheapest way to do it especially, and perhaps a less controlled way to do it, but either way, let me grab some fireworks before I head out into this piglin-filled disaster out here. I think we will give it a go with some explosives. Okay, here we are, and I've brought myself basically enough material to make 2 stacks worth of beds, and obviously beds don't stack in your inventory, so keeping it split up into these materials is probably a good idea for now. Let me throw it all in this chest and we'll grab them one at a time, and this is really where I'm going to need to switch out my elytra for my better equipment, for my diamond chest plate. This thing has blast protection and regular protection on it, so this was the stacking enchantments that were only really available from 1.14 to 1.14.2 before they reverted that change, but now I'm as protected as I'm ever gonna be against the explosions caused by these beds. Now, we're gonna try our best to make sure we don't take too much damage here, but you never know. It's gonna be a tricky proposition, so I think we're gonna have to keep our wits about us, and let's see how many we will craft here to start off with. Yeah, about 15 or so will be fine, I think. Now, what I think I will recommend doing is, first of all, clearing out the area of any mobs, and I immediately forgot that I wasn't wearing elytra. I just jumped straight off of that, but at least we know the protection is working all right. And yeah, the piglins and stuff like this are going to be a problem around here, but I need to keep my best armor on, so I'm basically just going to have to deal with them. Oh, a baby hoglin! How adorable. Sometimes these guys do attack you, by the way, but they will typically not do a huge amount of damage, and then they start to run away if you start to fight them. So, you know what? No, he's running away right now. Let's leave him be. Instead, what I'm going to do is pick a spot to scaffold up, or ladder up in this case, and I think we're probably just going to continue straight ahead. Hey! Alright, apparently he's asking for it now. There we go. You hate to see it, but that hoglin was causing me trouble. He was a menace. He was clearly a menace to society. Right, let's grab the scaffold, let's take down the rest of this, and we need to basically drill holes in the netherrack up here. We're not going to go too high, though, because I don't want to let lava in from the surface lakes, and if we go anywhere close to that, I think we're potentially going to start letting in the stuff that is dripping in from the ceiling right now when we explode this thing. So I'm going to dig back here, I would say probably about this far. We're going to place down a bed, and then I'm going to build a protective shield of sorts over here, because this thing is going to really explode when we give it the chance. I think I can click it from about this far away. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, so that has exploded a pretty sizable chunk without us taking too much damage. It is letting in lava, but as you will see, the lava is trickling in, and we do not seem to have any exposed ancient debris in here, so that is good. So far, we can take care of the lava. We've got fire resistance potions on our hotbar in case we need to deal with anything a little bit more close up. There we go. Lava is taken care of, and we just need to continue doing this over and over again, blowing up large areas here, and this is potentially going to be a little bit faster than digging this whole thing out manually. It will certainly save on pickaxe durability, but I found it's actually pretty effective to switch to a fortune pickaxe and just let the XP from quartz and from gold ore refill and refuel your mending pickaxes. If you just hold one in each hand, it works pretty well that way. And I think this should be okay. Yep, there we go. Okay, you just got to be wary of the fire, if anything. So the next step is going to be to go outwards and downwards. And if I have a blast shield here, I should be able to click the corner of this bed like so. Yep, there we go. It's always a little bit of a shock when it happens, but hopefully we should be all good. Take care of the lava source right there, and that is about the height and the depth that we want to be mining this out at. So we're probably getting down to, yeah, around Y8 is where the ancient debris should stop generating. So looks like we don't have any immediately here. I can tidy up the rest of this chunk, put out all of the fires, and then move left, move right, and see what I can find. There we go, our first blasted out piece of ancient debris reveals itself, and I need to do a couple of experiments with this because I'm still very reluctant to try it, but I have a feeling that it is possible to throw this thing in fire or lava and not have it burn. So I feel like, despite the risks, I kind of want to give that a try. Let's quickly mine out the rest of this. Nope, looks like we just got the one piece from that vein. I'm finding that on average, you do really only get one piece per vein. I'm finding it very rare to find a vein of 2 or 3 or more. But let's see if this will burn. No, it will not. There you go. It is definitely in the hitbox of the fire there. As you can see, if I throw some netherrack in there, it gets burned up, but the ancient debris survives. So you can be pretty confident that even if you're blasting this out, even if the ancient debris were to be destroyed by the explosion of a bed, which I don't think is possible anyway, even if it dropped in the fire, it would not end up burning up. Same actually goes with lava, and that is what makes netherite and netherite gear so valuable to some players, is that the stuff just doesn't burn in lava. It will float to the surface in lava, allowing you to collect it. Although how exactly you collect it is a slightly more difficult proposition. You are able to pick it up and you don't end up getting your tools burned completely. So there is still hope. I'm going to do a little bit more digging around here. I think I'll do a bit more off camera just because you guys know the technique by now. And hopefully we'll have enough netherite by the end of the day that we can upgrade all of my remaining tools. Hey folks, welcome back. So it has turned into basically the warmest day of the year so far. So I've been sat here with the windows open and a fan on and just mining my way through this area. And I gotta say, the strategy has changed a little bit since I was taking out the entire chunk. Basically what I've started doing now is as soon as I find a vein of netherite in that chunk, I abandon it and move on, because the likelihood of there being a second vein in that chunk and the time it takes me to find it, I feel like the likelihood drops dramatically enough that it is probably worth your time to just go and start mining out the next one and hope that you find a vein in that one. And that strategy has proven a little bit quicker than just taking down the entire thing for relatively few results. With these last 3 ancient debris, I now have 24, which, by my calculations, should be enough netherite scraps to get me enough ingots to complete the rest of the gear I have on me. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have also, as you can see, harvested myself a fair amount of other goodies. We have tons of quartz now, which I'm not converting into blocks because you can buy the blocks from stonemasons. I'm keeping the raw quartz here to make comparators and daylight sensors and all the redstone components that require some raw quartz. I've also got a fair amount of quartz ore that I can fortune if need be. A whole bunch of blackstone, and I sort of gave up on slabbing over these chunks after a while, especially when I started leaving them, because it was easier to just avoid anything that was spawning out there than mess around with slabbing the whole thing and waste a bit more time. Eventually, I kind of gave up on the idea of using beds as well. The destructive capabilities of beds are not to be underestimated, but they're a little bit too unpredictable and you can't really get away from them all that easily, so I didn't want to waste my time being super careful when I could just go to town with a pickaxe and usually find an ancient debris pretty quickly in the first few layers I was cutting down. So that is 4 ingots worth of scraps taken care of. Let me just convert some of those into netherite ingots, and these will take care of the rest of the tools. So we have, first of all, an upgrade to, holy smokes, my brand new hoe. The Fortune 3 hoe is now upgraded to netherite. We now have a netherite sword as well, all of the best enchants that I care to put on this. I don't really want to put fire aspect on it, but I think that's going to do nicely. The mushroom chopper gets an upgrade as well, and last of all, a silk touch netherite shovel. Can you believe it? Believe it, it's happening. Awesome. And of course, The serious dedication advancement got a bit of a rephrase, I guess. Oh, and we have some more advancements to look at in the tab. I haven't even looked at this stuff, actually. Very exciting stuff. But now, in the Minecraft tab, where is it? Or is it in section on farming? Yes, there we go. Use a netherite ingot to upgrade a hoe, and then reevaluate your life choices. Well, considering that the hoe is actually way more useful, and we're going to go into some of the uses for the hoe in future. Yeah, I really don't think that's so much of a flex anymore. I feel like hoes are actually going to be kind of an important part of life in the Nether update now. But look at this, we have 2 more netherite ingots, and that's enough to upgrade the helmet and the leggings. We're going to do it, folks. I think we're probably going to do it. And then I guess all I will need is another single netherite ingot to upgrade that incredible chest plate. But I'm kind of on the fence about that, because that chest plate is eventually going to go in the museum. And I kind of feel like, because as an artifact of a time when you could stack all of those protection enchants, I kind of want to preserve it as it is, and I don't expect I will end up using it all that much anyway. But now look at me. The helmet has a brand new design. I am kind of glowing purple, but underneath that purple shimmer is a fully decked out set of netherite armor. That's very, very cool. And once again, all of this stuff has additional armor toughness, no extra armor points, but it's going to be worth having nonetheless. So I expect in future I will return to the netherite mine, and we will spend a little bit more time working down here, getting ourselves some more ancient debris. We might end up doing that on a stream because, of course, one of the ultimate goals of this is to acquire enough blocks of netherite to form a beacon, and that's probably going to be a long-term goal. I'm not expecting to grind that out in a matter of days or even weeks. It's going to be something we do in the background, maybe on some streams if I don't feel like tackling any other projects right away. But for now, folks, that is going to be where we leave this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are having good luck finding those ancient debris veins in your own worlds. Leave a like on this episode for me if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.